We now move to the last session of the day, which is a brand showcase by Deepak Oram, Head Martech and Automation at HDFC Bank. Uh, I welcome Deepak for a case study presentation on marketing automation. Just like to remind the audience to keep the conversation going on social media using the hashtag Road to Martech. And after Deepak is done presenting, he will be available to take 2-3 questions. So please do write in. And over to you, Deepak.
Hi, Urvi. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Yeah. So over to you.
Thank you for having me. I took down some notes from the previous session. Okay, so I'm going to try and stay on this to keep the conversation going, right?
Sure.
So Anika said, what does Anika want? Does your company know what Anika wants, and just talk to Anika about what she wants, right? So I have customer understanding. That's what I heard, right? And someone said, Martech investments are iterative. You invest over time, to iterate and grow your business, hopefully, with your investments. That's something I fully agree with. I will try and cover that in my conversation. And third thing I noted down was that be human-centered. Okay, technology doesn't work itself. Humans work technology. Humans have to assist technology, and technology has to assist humans. Right? So be human-centered. So I've heard that loud and clear. What I'm going to talk about, and I hope you can see my screen, thinking through your automation strategy. Right now, we understand the key sort of imperatives that the panel was talking about. Understand the customer. What does Anika want? Talk only to Anika about what Anika wants. Investments are iterative. Make sure they give you value in each iteration. And be human-centered. Think about what your teams need in terms of automation, right? So all these three things are what? They are basically an automation strategy. They boil down to focusing on these three and figuring out what you need to do at what time, how, what are the key levers, right? Basic things that go into any strategy. I'm going to talk about how HDFC Bank is thinking around this topic and how it has thought about this topic in the last 3 years while I've been there, right? So let me quickly take you through this strategy and thinking exercise. It's great if you have, there are some frameworks here. Please do think through from your own organization's point of view. I think it will probably help more that way instead of just listening to what I have to say. That's the intent behind my slides. So let's begin. I think, and this is a funny one because we are in the midst of a COVID epidemic, but all of us are on this call. It's almost lunchtime, right? But so for those of who have stuck along, all of us have a serious illness. I'll maybe phrase it a little differently. It's not an illness, but it's an itch. It's an itch that we want to scratch, or we want this curiosity of ours that we have to find an answer, right? Answer around what? I think all of you are looking for largely an answer to how do you improve CX for your own brands, your own customers, right? That's purely why you will attend something like this, right? Because it helps you learn and understand other people's perspectives, which you can then go back to your jobs and apply, right? That's kind of what most people would hope to take away from this. Now, if CX is your passion, right, it has to be defined in a certain way. Let's do a quick definition and let's see if we all agree, right? So good customer experience is nothing but customer understanding. Right? That's where it all begins. Understand your customer better. Basis their past purchases, basis their demographics, basis whatever data that you have on there. It depends on the kind of industry that you work in, but great customer experience starts with great customer understanding, right? I'm going to keep it limited to only 2 levels and being able to reach out to the customer and timely, right? Whether it's outbound via email, SMS, WhatsApp, paid advertising, or inbound when they come to your store or to your app or to your website, right? If you have understanding and outreach that is effective, you have great customer experience. That to me is the simplest definition that I can make you guys, right? Now, if this is the goal, this is the itch that you're trying to scratch, what do you do from a tech point of view to satisfy this need, right? You do investments, technology investments, right? Around analytics, automation. Because if you're a bank, for example, HDFC Bank has a lot of data. Right? If I have to know exactly what each customer wants, what I should talk to them about, what I should not talk to them about, I have to make huge investments in automation of analytics. Getting all data together, churning the data. That's a huge exercise for a lot of financial services organizations. And it may also apply to retail, e-commerce, digital, all kinds of organizations have data on customers, right? Because customers do leave a footprint wherever they go. So this investment is required everywhere. Now, once you have made this investment, obviously you have to then go out and reach the customer. So obviously you make investments in omnichannel automation. Right? And this has been around for the last 3 years, where omnichannel has gained a lot of adoption across the world, and it has shown value also. And so has HDFC Bank seen value in this. Right? And I can attest to that fact. So this is two buckets where you will make your investments. To have what on the left hand side is the great customer experience you're looking for. Now, if this is the goal, someone talked about being human centered, right? When you walk through, imagine walking through your office on any day, right? These white paper cutouts of people, imagine they are your own people, right? What are the different things are they talking about? You should be hearing some of these things, right? For example, let's say a simple thing, a trigger. Something happened on my website today. Someone browsed and did something. Someone came to my store today. Are we able to take the data and trigger to the customer saying, okay, we know you did this. Here's what we suggest, right? If some people are talking about triggers within the organization, great. I think they are now thinking in terms of automation being a requirement that will fulfill their needs, right? If, let's say, people are talking about click-through rates. Now, a lot of people say campaign is live. Campaign is live does not mean anything. What is campaign is live? For how long has it been live? Is it performing? Is it non-performing? What is the click-through rate? Is it doing well? Is it doing badly? If people are talking about optimizing click CTRs, perfect. If they're just talking about sending out campaigns, not so good. That conversation has to happen within the organization. Then you go into your customer understanding, analytics. What are the models that you're using? What are the techniques you're using? What machine learning are you using? Right? What data sets are you powering that machine learning algorithm with? This needs to be clear. If people are talking about advanced algorithms like a random forest, for example, great. You have the right people now in the organization. They're talking about this in the aisles of your organization, right? Or in the emails of your organization. Great. Then you have the right people, right? So what do these conversations actually mean in terms of marketing abilities for the organization, right? You're talking about segmentation, hyper segmentation, not just segmentation basis demographics, but what happened in the last hour. That's what a trigger means, right? So segmenting people basis that. If you're talking about click-throughs across channels, right? So this channel has a higher CTR than the other channel, then you are thinking omni-channel. Then you are thinking channel propensity of a customer, of a product, for example. This product works better on this channel because it has higher click-throughs on that channel. I'll use this channel more than the other one. Then you are thinking omni-channel, right? The algorithms, the machine learning, right? What does this mean? You have data, you have to churn the data, figure out what the customer wants at what point of time. They can even predict what the customer wants in 3 months' time instead of tomorrow. Right? So if this is something that your team is talking about, great. You are ready for investments, major investments in automation, because the team is going to face bottlenecks while trying to execute these things. Right? If they are not, you have to invest in people and skills. Without people and skills and these challenging aspects being demanded by your teams, you will not need the automation or be able to utilize the automation effectively, right? So this is the first one. This is the human-centered thinking that someone talked about. If your people demand automation because they are talking about techniques that are advanced or they are currently not being facilitated by the current investments, yes, that's the right time to start making investments. If not, invest in people and skills. Whether inside, outside, it's up to you. Now, if you, let's say, if you've decided that you want to invest, how have you arrived at that conclusion, right? Marketing is now data driven, right? Everything is data driven in terms of which segment, at what time, at what cost, right? But why doesn't that apply to your tech investments? Your tech investments data driven. That's something you must ask yourself, right? Why would you propose something if you don't have the data to back it up? It can't be a buzzword in the market that basically you have found, if you are fancied by and you want to do the investment. If you do that, the problem is in 3 years' time, you are the one defending that investment, right? So that's a problem. So you have to ask yourself, are your tech investments data-driven, right? Data-driven can be something very simple. Now look at this graph, right? On the top right, you have this 25%. This is not a data that you get from customer. This is an aspiration that you have as a company. So HDFC Bank has an aspiration that 25% of all our transactions or all our sales should happen without any human touch. So completely digitized business and digital customer experience for 25% of all our business that we do. Now that's a visionary goal or a performance indicator that we have adopted, right? So this is something you set for yourself, right? You have to say, what is my success metric for this investment and where will it take me? If you don't have it, then investment will be all over the place in simple terms, right? So have a goal for yourself, number one. Now, if you look at the graph here, over time on the bottom, the unassisted number I have to grow. Right? So how will I grow it? So it's very simple for me to understand that there will be basically various points where I will get lift. This lift will come in iterations, like someone talked about. I make an investment, a lift comes. I make another investment, another lift comes. Right? It'll typically work like that. Now, if this is the way it is going to be iterative, and every time I go get closer to the goal of 25% unassisted business, completely digital servicing or acquisition of the customer, right? Now, how will that investment work? How do I define that investment in terms of how people will understand it? Let me take an example of what we did. We did investment A, right? This we did, and this investment was omni-channel campaign management, outreach to customer, right? So what happened? You saw a lift that happened here, right? What happened was we were able to reach the customer with the same exact analytics-driven offer across the mobile app, the net banking on browser, the website, email, SMS, and paid. It was a single offer, reminding you that you probably want this product from HDFC Bank wherever you went in the digital world, right? So when you had that kind of reach, we were able to generate incremental reach for our customers after going omni-channel, making the huge investment that we had to do. And we saw a very clear lift. It went, after A investment was done, it went up and it shot up. That's the adoption that we got, right? Now, present day, there is P1, P2, P3. There are 3 products that have a particular run rate today, right? Now, if I want to say, okay, great, after doing omnichannel, I've got a lift, I've reached this at a certain stage. Now I need to improve it. I have to ask, okay, how do I improve it now? I need another investment, right? So what have I figured out in terms of what is the other investment that is required? So essentially, what we have been able to figure out is that now customer knows what offer that they are eligible for, or what product they should take. They are not clear and they're not happy with the method of taking it, right? So what is this bottleneck? This bottleneck which is stopping us from going up, right? That is a digitized process, an automated digital customer experience. For example, if you want to take a loan, you don't want someone to visit your house and take your salary slip. Right? If you want to open an account, you don't want someone to come to your house and take your ID, the Aadhaar card, for example, right? So this is what's causing the bottleneck. We are able to reach the customer, but the fulfillment is the issue, right? So what we're able to visualize and what we're able to quantify is that what is this lift that we'll get will come through, and what are the bottlenecks that are in place, right? So what is this B that I want? This B is digitization. And it's a cluster of bottlenecks across product 1, product 2, product 3. So I'm not doing an investment for one particular product. It's an investment we are doing for all products of the bank. It's a capability that the bank will build, right? So we are able to quantify in terms of if we get this ability to do complete digital end-to-end sourcing of a customer, and we'll make a tech investment here, what is the amount of lift and the amount of revenue we'll generate, right? And that is when we are able to go to our management and say, this is what we want. Please give us the funds to get this done. Here is the benefit. So we have been able to crunch the data and have a data-driven justification for the investment. Not something that we are saying is a buzzword in the market and we want. No, we're able to quantify it. So please do it for your organization as well. It's very, very important. It helps not only for your senior leaders to understand, but also for you to understand what you do. Right. One key way of proposing this internally in organizations, which I am a big fan of, is that there is a lift that is happening here. Assume this lift does not happen, right? Assume you don't make the investment. Then what happens? This run rate, this rate does not go up. It remains flat over time. What is that now? What is the cost of this, right? Imagine you make the investment here somewhere and it goes up. What is this delay? You have a box here. What is this box? This box is lost opportunity or lost business. Be able to quantify this also, right? There are 2 ways of pitching something. This will give us higher revenue, but if we don't invest today, this is the revenue that we lose. You should be able to quantify this as well. So this is what I mean when I say have a data-driven approach to driving your tech investments or automation investments. It should not be buzzword driven or what the other competition of yours is doing. Right? So if you have this approach, you will definitely have a better guiding metrics to guide your investments and scale your investments. Let's assume we've made the investment. Now we are able to take a loan from HDFC Bank without any paper in the future, right? But will that serve the purpose? And what are the implications of that, right? The implications are that not all customers are alike, okay? And not all products are also alike. There are some high involvement products and there are some low involvement products. So if you want to do a recurring bill payment on net banking, okay, and it generates a small amount of revenue for us, sure, you will come to net banking, you'll do it. I'll guide you, I'll give you maybe a voucher, you'll do it, right? But the problem is there are high involvement products also that you may or may not be convinced to do digital in a completely paperless manner, because the human factor, a representative from a bank, especially in finance, really matters when you're making a big financial decision, right? So how do you will have to figure out a way to counter when you digitize that this lack of human factor has to be in some way catered to. How will you cater to it? You have to cater to it using analytics, right? You have to know exactly what this customer wants. Is he a person who takes his salary and invests a huge chunk of it? Is she a person who likes to maybe enjoy life a little bit more than others, right? So if that is the case and you are giving them a high involvement product, right? Maybe a loan or an investment product, you have to understand that people are not alike. And if they are going to do an impersonal digital journey, you better have the analytics and the personalization to have the relevance in that journey. So imagine an application form where we're talking to you exactly in terms of what you want in a credit card, right? Rather than talking about say reward points. If you are a spender, we will say this gives you extra money to maybe go travel or buy that appliance and pay in EMI. If you are someone who is very oriented towards getting the reward points, we'll say, okay, pay every month, this much reward points are available to you. So there are two personas. So in a high involvement product, that's something the journey and the UX should talk about, basis advanced analytics and understanding of your customer to build the relevance that we need, right? And once this is there, you will get the relevance and you will have the trust in the unassisted digital journey. So that is an implication to doing tech investments also in terms of customers' point of view. So please always you should keep that in mind. Now you've decided to make the tech investments, but do you have a layer of understanding of what the competition is doing? What are the threats that your CEO is staying up at night thinking about? Right? Let's take a bank's example. This has to also go into your strategy. Otherwise, it will not resonate with your leadership. So if we are a bank today, we are dealing with a lot of disruption. Right? We have every single one of us now uses some sort of a wallet or the other to do payments. That's something that's going away from banks and going into digital companies. Now that's a threat for a bank. And it's a threat because they burn cash. These guys are very well funded and they burn cash. So we have to figure out a way to make investments which supports the overall strategy of a financial institution, which is a traditional one in this case, and be able to counter the new threats that we have in the market. So let's look at a simple example of what a bank has and what a disruptor. Imagine a payment wallet, for example, has, right? So bank has safety. You keep your money safe. We have a branch nearby. You can go and withdraw your money anytime, right? We also have a customer fingerprint. We also know exactly what you not only spend, but what you also save, right? Which is not really the case with maybe a digital fintech product. They probably know what you spend, but they don't know what you save or how much you get paid. And they're trying to figure out various ways of ascertaining that by giving you cashbacks, getting you spend more on their wallets, right? Let's look at what the fintech disruption guys have. They largely have small ticket. They are very good in doing small UPI payments. Their digital presence is far superior to a bank because they have an army of developers. They have an army of tech that they have in their arsenal, which a bank, largely financial institution, cannot compete with. Right? So they have this digital presence as an advantage for them, and they have a transaction footprint. So this is the case where they are able to give you great digital presence, but are lacking in transaction footprint. I have to figure out a way where I'm going to build my ability to compete with these guys. Right? This is what stands out. We have a customer fingerprint that is the entire card spend, your salary, your investments, everything. So we know you better, right? So someone said in the previous panel, it is about talking to a customer with relevance. So I'm confident if I invest in my customer fingerprint creation and management abilities, I'll be able to talk to my customer better, more clearly, and exactly around their needs than my competition is coming from the big tech side. Right? So this is where I'm going to invest. And this is how I'm going to justify it to the management saying, I need to invest in analytics. Okay. Now, with these three things in mind, right? Let's break down, let's say a tech and a marketing automation strategy for HDFC Bank. What will it look like? We will invest in advanced analytics, very simple, because advanced analytics is where you will tend to get the relevance that you need to create great customer experience as well as great advantage, maintain the advantage against competition. Right? Hence, we'll invest in advanced analytics. We'll get the big data set, we'll get the big analytics engines, we'll get the big platforms. Right? Omnichannel outreach. The better you reach, the more revenue you get. Perfect. Once we have the understanding, we have to use it somewhere, right? So we'll invest in omnichannel reach. That's a no-brainer. Third, we'll invest in digitization. We'll digitize once we are able to understand the customer and reach the customer, make it easy for him or her to take the product. That's a very simple assertion to make and very simple logical conclusion to come to. That is what will take us closer to the 25% of customers doing business with HDFC Bank completely digitally comes from, and this is what will enable it. These are the three key things we will do. Now, before you make the investments, and this is where I think all of us should look inwards. Right? Think about where you lie on this chart. Okay, on the bottom is expertise, higher expertise. On the left is authority, high authority. So when you buy technology and make marketing automation investments, all of us sit somewhere here in the middle. Please assess yourselves. Where are you? There are laggards, right? People who, although have good intentions, but have not made the right people investments, and hence don't have the authority in the organization. So you probably, and let's be honest in our assessment, you want more expertise. That expertise, if you get more expertise, automatically you will get more authority. But then, because then people will listen to you. You know what you're saying will make sense. So having the expertise and the authority will help you get the technology that you want, the automation that you want. Right? If someone is here, that person should definitely start investing in expertise and get further expertise will automatically give you more authority within the organization, and we will talk about investments to make marketing automation. This is another problem actually. If you have high authority, no one questions what you want to invest in. Right? You never ask your people what they want. You never invested in people, but you would say, okay, I'll get the technology and it will solve all my problems. That's not the case. This also is a problem. If you are a shopper, you can shop all the technology you want. It's not going to solve for anything. You will have the technology, it will lie idle. And you know how technology works. Right? The bill comes every month, especially on cloud software. Bill will keep on coming and you will be stuck with a software that is not giving you ROI. So it's not good to have a shopper mentality as well. Don't buy technology for technology's sake. Build the expertise. Hire the right people. Hire the data scientists. Hire the digital marketeers. Build expertise to back up your authority. Just buying software is not going to solve for anything. Prisoner also. You have the expertise. You don't have the authority. Right? Now, this is where you need to build your authority. Now, how do you build it? By data-driven justifications for investments, the graph that we spoke about. If you invest in this one area which is causing bottleneck and generating ROI for your organization, you have to put the data together and go back because you have the expertise, right? If you have the expertise, you should be able to put the data together and say, I want this investment. If I do this automation investment, this is the ROI I will get. And go talk to your organization leadership about it, right? And keep on harping about it till you get the authority to buy. So if you have expertise, sometimes you need to do the internal management of expectations and forcing people into thinking your way. And if you have the expertise, that is only a matter of time. You have to just apply your expertise and get there. Right? That's as simple as it is. So please think about where you lie in all of these on this graph, and it will help you understand what you need to do. This is where we want to be, right? Superstar. High authority, high expertise. Please understand, expertise builds authority. Only authority will not get you anything. If you build both, if you both build expertise, authority comes, and you are able to become a superstar in terms of getting the investments that you want and being able to do the customer experience and marketing that you want. This is what you would want to get in the near future. And let's sum up now. So there are three key levers to drive automation strategy, which I have covered in this presentation. Number one, holistic investment. Don't just invest in technology, invest in skills and people as well. People use technology, technology needs people to run. It is a vicious and a virtuous cycle at the same time. Get the people first, then invest in technology. You will have the best time getting people to do fun work together and grow with time. Right? So don't forget about people when you invest. Have a quantifiable vision. Your investments, if you are going to get your way in your organization, have to have a vision attached to it. Right? It's a sales technique. If I'm going to sell you a pen, I'm not selling you a pen. I'm selling you the world's best pen. Right? So you have to have a quantifiable vision for your leadership. I want to have 25% of business for HDFC Bank generated completely digitally. That's the vision that you have to back and say, if you give me the investments in people as well as technology, I will get here. And people will listen and be able to do a data-driven, which we covered earlier, data-driven assessment. I will do this investment. This is the iterations involved, and I will get to this quantifiable vision for the long term. Number three, you have to talk and understand the problems and the disruption going on around your organization and have a layer of that understanding. So if you look at HDFC Bank, the quantifiable vision is not simply saying, I want to do more business digitally. I want to do more business digitally because customers are going digital. Competition is coming in and is on our heels. If you don't invest, if you don't automate, if you don't evolve, they will take away our business, right? And that's the layer which we use to convince our peers within our own organization and maybe even outside to figure out how do you solve for this. So these three key pillars are how I think about investments in automation for HDFC Bank. With that, I would like to close on this topic of thinking through your automation strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Really interesting. And thank you to the audience for tuning in. Thank you, Deepak, for giving us your time. And this brings us to the end of today's summit. A special thanks to Marketo Engage by Adobe for supporting us. Don't forget to join us on the 25th of the month for the second summit on the road to market. It's called Datalytics Summit. In the meantime, you can continue with this conversation using the hashtag Road to Martech on social media. See you all on the 25th and stay safe and healthy till then.